Hello, all. Happy Morgana Monday. Let's ignore that I'm wearing the exact same clothes as yesterday and look, or last week. Last week. Yes, yes. Let's ignore that I'm wearing the exact same clothes as last week. Um, and look the same. It's a Fata Morgana trick, a mirage, if you will. A Morgana mirage, if you will. I've been saying Fata Morgana Monday for the past few days, for the past few videos. Why do I keep doing that? It's Morgana Monday. I don't know why I'm messing up my own shtick. This is kind of silly. Don't worry about it. It's Morgana Monday. Why am I putting the Fata there? Silly. Whatever. Anyway, let's get to it. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Thank you for clicking on this video. Hi. Okay, let's go. Bye. All right. Interesting that it's called Encaged. I haven't been paying enough attention to the saves, honestly, but intriguing. So we're back to her. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michel wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me. But there was little point in asking, when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Although, at first I'd been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me. The more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted on the pulpit's front face, what was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pew seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or rather, the cross hanging on it. Interesting. I wasn't sure why there would be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. Isn't that, like, common in, like, rich, like, mansions back then? Am I just wrong? I always see them in media, so it's like, I don't know the actual, like, how historically common they were, but I feel like they were super common in stories, in fantasy stories that are around this time. Like, I feel like I see them all the time, and so I, like, don't question it at all. I'm like, obviously there's a church. All the rich people got churches back then. They got churches in their house. Don't worry about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. Oh, okay. I guess a chapel. Maybe just the house doesn't like make sense with the size of the. Oh wait, sorry. The worship area doesn't make sense with the size of the house. I guess, but like maybe I'm just seeing massive rich people in stories. I don't know. It's a very well made chapel. At any rate, I doubted Michel had had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him, and he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers. Maybe. Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? Still, it's not like I have any other options. Don't you worry. It'll all work out, promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent noble house, way out of reach of some small-time merchants like us. You never know, this could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back on our feet. Oh, for goodness sakes, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah. Say bye to Mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm gonna make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost care. See? How about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? Aww. I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by, day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then my sister fell in love with a moderately well-off aristocrat. Both my mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry, but their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger estate approached me. He said they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer, so I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. I have this strange suspicion that maybe she was set up, but I don't actually know what she did. I don't even have a guess of what Giselle, messed up with, but I have this feeling that maybe she was set up because this feels all too convenient that they came and grabbed this merchant girl and were like, hey, noble house? It's perfect time, perfect circumstance. It feels way too convenient. I just pray that nothing bad happens to my sister and that Mom is getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare. Oh. She stole something. Okay. Enough to spare some. I can't blame her. The light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high that no, my prayers would not be answered. The blush white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on! You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Fighting with my cat right now. Because she really wants to stick her tail in my face. Please, Miss Ma'am. Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Oh, poor Giselle. Their nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Giselle was sitting on one of the pews in the room with a stained glass window, just looking at her. You might have thought she was offering a prayer, but the words coming out of her mouth were anything but prayerful. They were filled with resentment. They have plenty of money, a sullied woman, and then I never asked to end up like this. So this is what's beneath the facade. Most likely, money's what she's after. All I need to do now is confirm my suspicions with them. Just what awful secrets will I uncover? I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew with her head dropped, a cursory glance before leaving the chapel. I had somewhere else to be. The bitterly cold, outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I stepped beyond the mansion's walls. A thick mist canopied the night sky, blocking out the moonlight. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving the house. It had been 10 years since I had seen the mansion from the outside, and it hadn't changed one bit. A gloomy scar upon the earth, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically approach. Nevertheless, it was better than that house. What had happened to him there? Why does he hate the house so much? And his mother. And I guess his father, too. Yes? Who is it? I wonder if this is his friend in the painting. Michelle. What? Michelle Bollinger? Just one moment. I'll be right there. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. Wow, I must say, this is rather unexpected. Just one word, and I would have been up there in a heartbeat. How was I supposed to do that? I am regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons. Right, yes. My apologies. This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Bollinger family. His job? To watch over me. That said, we never actually interacted. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive and whether I remained in the mansion. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about me. Well then, what can I do for you? The manservant was visibly rattled. I wonder if... You know, I'm starting to feel like the doors all have their individual points and like where they're real and where they have real facts. And I'm starting to believe that his mom, like, cheated, and like his dad is not like his dad, right? Biologically. And I feel like the first door had to do with him in that regard, you know? And I wonder if white-haired girl is his sister, potentially, then. Not her being exactly as we know her, but I wonder if she's, like, similar. Interesting. But I definitely feel like that's where that comes from, maybe? And he's a secret because of that his mother is keeping, like, locked away in the woods somewhere, you know? But, you know, no one knows about him. But not because of the difference in our social ranks. I had a pretty good idea of what he'd been told about me. He was afraid of me. Or more specifically, my curse. People fear that which they cannot comprehend. Not just children, adults as well. They fear demons, witches, and curses. Anything impure or not of this world. But I had long since gotten used to being viewed as such. It didn't sadden me. It didn't disappoint me. It didn't pain me. Some things were too foolish to concern yourself with. Though it certainly doesn't make me feel good, either. I was on some level annoyed. That woman's appearance at the mansion had created ripples in my once tranquil life. So before I got into the real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head. There's no need to be afraid. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. How rude of me. You're right. My sincerest apologies. Your job is to keep watch over me. If the mere sight of me has you trembling, what will you do if I try to run? I would have little trouble escaping. That would be quite unfortunate. What would I ever tell your mother? I'm not sure that would end well at all. You could lose everything you've been paid so far. In fact, you might be lucky to get out with your life. Surely your mother would not... You are aware of who you're dealing with, right? Michel, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to take your life. You wouldn't even make it back to report anything. Have mercy, Lord Michel. Please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. Only joking. What? I don't have the power to kill by way of curse. The man fell silent, but the look on his face said, You are cursed, though, aren't you? Once someone's got an idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible to get rid of. I'm so cursed that anyone can see it, that I need to be locked away in a dark mansion. I'm here because I have a question for you. Not to warn you that I plan to run away. A question? For me? Yes. Approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came to the mansion. Tell me what you know about her. I was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear, that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else. I believe you. I never thought they would tell you anything. Right. He had been hired to observe me, but that was all he was, a hired hand. He wouldn't be privy to the Bollinger family's internal affairs. Take this. A letter? I need you to deliver it to my mother. You could have just left it in the box from this month's package. I would have collected it when I dropped off the next. I am in urgent need of information. Will you do this for me? Yes. Why, yes, absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning. Much appreciated. Good night. You too. Do take care. Okay. Interesting. Lord Michel. Yes? Is it true you don't have... Would you like me to sew your mouth shut so you can never open it again? Not at all. My sincerest apologies, Lord Michel. That was horribly disrespectful. Good night. Cursed, I most certainly am. My mother's response arrived just 10 days later. The delivery boy must have pushed his horse quite hard. It was almost exactly a month after Giselle had moved in. And shortly thereafter, on a bone-chilling night, everything came crashing down. The rift between us grew deeper, and the wall between us impossibly high, when I lay bare, the scars in her chest, and mercilessly plunged my knife into them. All right. Okay, Michel. It's a little fricked up. How did we get to this point? Ugh, I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into a deep morass. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I had been optimistic at first. I'd even had a little hope that me and Michel could get along together. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered, and the cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare, and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air, like my very presence in the world was a crime. I never could have imagined just how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself, despising the world, convinced there was no one who could set me free. Oof, Giselle. I considered running away from everything rather than live like this another day, but I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. If they found out I had fled, that I had acted outside their wishes, my mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married and my mom to live comfortably. I had given them happiness. I couldn't take that away from them again. Not after what I had to go through to do it. Ugh, no, cut that out. Getting way too depressing, Giselle. Pull yourself together. That's not who you are. Be positive. The negativity didn't only come from my interactions with Michelle either. No, there seemed to be some sort of terrible presence within the mansion that twisted people's hearts. The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend, which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and an evil witch had lived in it for many, many years. Michelle joked that he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. I'm not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, I can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can't go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve. A lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up as they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us again. If I could get him to open up even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here a little easier. I wasn't going to try to make us best friends or anything. Just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. I've got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, what is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off. Do it another day. No. I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get to it quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are going to get. And eventually, there won't be any fixing them. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds. And we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not the reason I have something to hide. Okay. Let's do this. I made my way to Michelle's chambers, which he had told me to stay away from. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least, I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. This is one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Pardon, Master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? Guess he's not here. The door wasn't locked. As was the rest of the house, his room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, Master? I guess I missed him. It's probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got a less than stellar impression of me. I don't want to imagine what'll happen if he thinks I've been snooping through his room. Yeah, I should get out of here. Spun around my heels, taking a step toward the door, when I caught sight of an object draped in a black sheet. I knew I had to get out of there as quickly as possible, but I was intrigued by that object. Something kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter. Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michelle's secrets. I reached my hand down toward the object, knowing good and well I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it the whispers of the witch? Is it a painting? What do we have here? I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting of what appeared to be a noblewoman with porcelain white skin. What stood out about her, though, was that the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. And then what? I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaged the canvas, damaging her face beyond repair. What the? I imagine it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. The only feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. This damage was not accidental. It was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from within the frame was stifling. Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone... She was surely a most beautiful woman. Angelic, even. A storm of questions assaulted me. I wonder if this is the painting in door 3. Like at the end, that white-haired girl saw? Maybe. Who was she? Why had her face been carved up? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? Who could have... There's only one person who could have done this. Michelle. Why on earth? You saw it, didn't you? You saw the painting, didn't you? Ah! You entered my room without permission, and you saw the painting, didn't you? I am... Angelic, you say? There's nothing angelic about that damned woman. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth. All I could do was tremble. Oh, a knife! Wow, he's pissed. Why did you enter my chambers? Me... What were you looking for? Answer me. My mouth wouldn't move properly. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like I wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisps of air that were drawn into my lungs were expelled as hoarse gasps. My breaths were shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Terrified, terrified, terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feelings, of the knife he was holding up to me, of the terrible past I was chained to. The man's voice, the man's very flesh, terrified me. What were you trying to find? And what were you planning to do with it? Answer me. Ha. Another thing you refuse to tell me, then. No, I'm trying. Nothing's coming out of my mouth, though. Everything's so bright, and I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. That's fine, though. You don't have to tell me. I have a pretty good idea. An idea? What do you mean? Money is what brought you to the Bollinger estate. That's what brought you to me, too. There are countless people you would love to see that house fall. And a noble family fears nothing more than disrepute. You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bollingers' downfall. No. And as it just so happens, the Bollingers have a very unfortunate secret. One they are quite desperate to keep under wraps. Me. Someone suspected I might still be alive, so they sent you to dig up information about me. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, Michel, who made a pact with the devil, who was supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. You sweet-talked your way into that house, and into information about me and my present situation, and you meant to trade that information for money. I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it, too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bollinger family is you. No, that's not true. Then enlighten me. Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring harm in any way. Then tell me, if that's not the reason you wormed your way into the Bollinger estate, and that's not what you're doing here, then tell me what it is. Tell me why you came to this mansion. You want me to tell you about that? No way. That's asking way too much. Tell me. I swear, I haven't done anything wrong to you. I simply wanted to make our life together a little more comfortable, to bring some warmth into this frigid relationship we have. That's the only reason I wanted to find out more about you. I assume I'm right then, Giselle. I must tell him he's wrong. I must tell him I mean him no harm. But I can't see anything. A merchant's daughter became an Abigail in a noble house. Should come up with a more obvious lie. Your father's the one who... Wait, How does he know that I'm from a merchant family? You look perplexed. I may be imprisoned in this house, not free to move about as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything. Everything? Then he knows about that too. Oh yes, I do know. Please, don't. Your quest for money. Don't say it. Oh. What? Oh, okay. Huh. You slept with my father. I didn't see that twist coming, to be honest with you. In that moment. Oh, I thought... Oh, maybe literally. He is holding a knife. Michel plunged his knife into my heart. He carved through my chest with those words, causing me to completely lose control of myself. In a panicked frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside and ran and ran and ran. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. How I wished a bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burnt my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, it would get rid of some of the filth, but the jagged streaks of light cascading across the dark clouds did not strike me, only creating restless grumbles in the sky. Why? I knew that if I fled the mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister, but I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me, with no regard for the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and my cries, because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak. Each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh. But the bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I've been through before. Michel had spoken the truth. As much as I wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes, reality was forever engraved in this body. No, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head! Antonin. This also reminds me sort of the first door, where the father would sleep with servants, I think. And the mother wouldn't know. Come over here, Giselle. Oh, okay. May I ask why you asked me here so late at night, Master? Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't have a great feeling about this. Oh, I just wanted to have a little chat. Care for some wine? Come closer, and I'll pour you a glass. I had this wine imported from up north. They use very hard water, and like it rather tart, so it leaves quite the lasting impression on your tongue. Yet it goes down so easily. You just can't seem to stop. What do you say? Have a sip. Or do your expertise as a trader allow you to evaluate a wine's quality without tasting it? No, but please, Giselle, don't trample all over my good graces. Very well then. I will have a sip, Master, but no more. Have you ever considered growing out your hair? Having long hair made it difficult to do my job. You're not a merchant anymore, though. You deserve to look like the woman you truly are. I've no doubt longer hair would accentuate your natural beauty. It's a gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man could get lost in it for years. It would contrast the color of your skin fabulously, highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape, your shoulders, and your chest. I should get going. Oh, but we're not done talking yet. I would not want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was No need to be so cold-hearted now. From the moment I first laid eyes on you. Master, that's enough fooling around for one night. No, don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Oh, God. That's what I was thinking. Ew. God, poor Giselle. I simply want to express my love. Let go of me. I only came to work, nothing more. The first time I saw you, I thought it would be a tragic waste to leave you to That's why he recruited her. Jesus Christ. To leave you to wither away, working at some little street side shop. Stop! Can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason you would be allowed here. No, I swear, it never even crossed my mind. It seems you're even more innocent than you look. But you've figured it all out by now, haven't you? No, let go of me! Stop this! Oh, God. Keep your voice down. Do not shout, Giselle. If anyone were to find out about this, you would be the one shouldering the consequences, not me. But you're a maid, and I'm the master of the house. Whose word do you think holds more weight? Don't worry, I won't do anything to hurt you. I promise your family will be exceptionally well taken care of. Your mother will have the comfortable life you wanted for her. But you know what will happen if you raise a fuss and make a fool of yourself. Oh, God. Nasty. God. Ugh. Not only will your family not get any of our money, and not only will your sister not get to marry, you'll all spend the rest of your lives on the streets. How could you be so cruel? This is blackmail. Blackmail? For a merchant's daughter, you don't know much about trade, do you? Now let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. Understand? Now let me see that beautiful body of yours. Ugh! Oh, God. Oh, horrible. Oh, Jesus. Poor Giselle. He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong. But I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true colors for the first time that day. The aging man ran his disgusting, slobbery tongue across my exposed skin. Everything he placed his hands upon withered away. Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips against putrefied, rotted, decayed, rankled. I trembled in revulsion, at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I wondered what kind of place hell was. If hell's wardens only flayed and carved their prisoners, I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second. But I didn't get to choose my hell. Eventually, the man forced open the gates I had been holding fast and spread his festering death inside me. Oh, Giselle. Listen to me, Giselle. It is in both our interests to keep this between the two of us. If you can do that, I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't look at me like that, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house, Giselle. She has long since lost her mind, after all. She's tortured just being in the same room. My sons, they hardly ever come home. But you, Giselle, you give color to my dull life. You make it exciting once again. Now go back to your room. I'll be... Oh, Giselle. I knew it wouldn't be a one-time thing. Oh, Giselle. Be waiting here at the same time next week. I couldn't escape from that man's grasp. Not when he used my family against me. Some weeks, I would just not go to his chambers, my one feeble means of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another Abigail to find me the next day, I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then, when the two of us were alone, the mask would come off. And he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inconspicuous places, my abdomen, my inner thighs. But he went as far as carving his word into my skin with a knife. Oh my god! Oh my god! Harlot. That was why I was afraid of knives. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion, but every time the thought crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the three of us girls and the shop. Life may not have been easy, but it was never dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its absolute lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were back then. The objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotions, so he couldn't hurt me. I was merely a vessel, a construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, for it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear, but the reality was it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body. Oh, Giselle. You're Giselle, aren't you? Oh, wait, that's not the voice I should have done. Sorry, I thought that was another maid. Apologies, Lydia's... Okay, the mistress of the... Sorry. Let's rewind. One day, the mistress of the estate stopped me in the halls. She had supposedly once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony. Her skin dry, her eyes sunken, her hair faded and stripped of its luster, her head down, her cracked lips moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside too, something that could burst at the lightest touch. Yes, I am Giselle. Is there something I can do for you? The mistress rarely ever left her chambers. I had been told it had been years since she attended family supper. So what would bring her to come looking for someone like me? You. What? I wasn't sure I wanted to know the answer. You're having relations with my husband, aren't you? You are, aren't you? Madam. Ah, ha, ha. You wretched creature. She was telling me the truth. One of my trusty maids caught a glimpse of you through the crack in the door. She saw you with him, you filthy rat. You seduced my husband. Oh, you devil. You conniving witch. You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Someone, anyone, restrain this girl. She's a demon. A devil. Tie her up and hand her over to the clergy. No. That won't be enough. A witch, you have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or she'll come back to life. Yes, execute her. Kill this woman. Burn the witch. Seize the piece she's stolen from me. Cursed, it's cursed. This house is cursed. Not only has it taken away my daughter, now it's trying to take away my husband. Oh God, please shine thy cleansing light upon this house. I knew it would be a waste of breath trying to talk to her. She was not of sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. I didn't even have to make a fuss about it. It happened all on its own. If there was no way around it, then I should have just done it myself after the first time. Poor Giselle. I didn't have the energy to argue with her, or to cry, or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me, and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, but much to my surprise, he stepped in with an embarrassed look on his face to try to settle his wife down and convince her not to have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart after all, or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of me being burned at the stake, it was decided I would be sent to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, and it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She'd returned to life after being executed, and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner, and so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. God, Giselle, poor thing. I hope my mom and sister are all right. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and his single, sullied passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again, ever cross the Grand Pont again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I'd finally escaped from that house. I'd finally escaped from that man. The sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was to reside, the Bollinger's youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he'd been sent to the cursed mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter only made a single request, that I look after him and not ask any questions. So I'm just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I looked after whoever is at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family. I don't have much say in the matter, either way, I suppose. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path, and bouncing around inside it, I resolved to take back my life, the peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost, and to do so, I would forget, lock away my memories, bury everything terrible that had happened to me, cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. This is probably a big reason why she was like, I'm not white-haired girl. What do you mean? I'm not white-haired girl. That's not me. This isn't my story. I can very much understand that. Jesus. I don't blame her in any way for not wanting to remember. I have no idea who I'm going to find there. But they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured, since the both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common, and so I would forget it all and get my life back, get my smile back. Oh, poor girl. And that was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion, all the wounds I never wanted to open again. All right. I guess that's where we'll stop. Jeez. God. Her crime, which she didn't commit. She didn't commit any crime. She didn't do anything wrong, really. It sucks. I mean, I guess he only knows what his mom told him because he doesn't talk to his dad because his dad thinks he's dead or something and that he would kill him if he was alive, which he seems like a scummy enough man. I could believe it, you know? He seems like a horrific, horrible, worthless trash man who deserves nothing good in this life. So yeah, I could believe that he would kill his son for, I guess, question mark. I don't know, for existing, I guess. God, I hate that no one's on, like, I hate that Giselle hasn't been able to talk to anyone about this and, like, have anyone on her side. Like, not even her family or anything. Horrible. That's so bad. Oh. God, okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming. This was a lot. This was a heavy one. I'm sure it's going to continue to be heavy here on out. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. All my socials are down below. Let me know what you thought. I don't have anything else to add. I'll see you guys next Monday. Happy Morgana Monday.